Welcome to the Rocha Revolution. I'm so happy to be back this week and joined by my colleague, business partner, and friend, Daysi Gonzalez. Daysi, thank you so much for being here.
A pleasure. I'm excited for our conversation.
It's really weird to be so formal with you,
I
isn't it?
know. We're good buddies.
How many years have we worked together?
7 years, almost 8, if you can
Almost
believe it.
8 years. That's crazy. We're going to talk about what Daisy's going through, but this is not going to be one of them crying fest. And oh my God, everybody who's been following my social media knows Daisy's going through a bunch of bullshit with TPS. She's an immigrant from El Salvador. There's a bunch of crazy stuff going on in her life. And this is what we're going to accomplish today. Is everybody that I talk to about Daisy and what's going on with the situation is like, what? How? That's not possible. Are you sure? Have you called somebody? You're Chuck Rocha. You work in politics. Why would she have to self-deport? No. Isn't she DACA? Why don't she get married? What's going on? Is her mom and daddy citizens? Like, we're going to answer all those questions today because I'm tired of people asking me all these damn questions. Because you're right to ask that, and it don't seem like it's literally could be possible. But it is, and we're going to explain why, because it's going to show how broken the system is. We've had enough crying. We've done all the things. Today, we're going to answer questions. But before we do, I want folks to know a little bit of your story. I don't mean the immigration thing here at the end, but you were born in El Salvador. Tell us about the immigration to California, going to school, then going to college in Utah, right?
Idaho, close.
Idaho. Utah and Idaho is the same damn. Anyway, Daisy, tell us how you got here.
Sure. And just a quick aside, when you were saying you're tired of the questions, if you can imagine what it's like for me, I'm excited to kind of answer some of those and
Good.
start at the beginning. So, like Chuck mentioned, I was born in San Salvador, El Salvador. I was 5 years old when we got a tourist visa to visit some family in California. I was promised I'd get to go to Disneyland, so I was excited. We came, and around that same time, there were 2 devastating earthquakes in El Salvador, and temporary protected status was made available to Salvadorans already in the States. So my family and I uh, had TPS since 2001, around there, to now, 2026. So over 25 years of this limbo. What most people don't know about TPS and DACA, for that matter, is that there is no pathway to citizenship. So every 18 months, I've had to fill out all this paperwork, do biometrics, pay all these fees, just to get another 18 months of employment authorization and protection from deportation. So with that, I mean, I grew up in California, the Bay Area. Prices there are crazy. So we were, moving further and further out of the Bay, and my family still lives in Tracy now. But I went to high school there. I went to college in Idaho, studied communications. By luck, fate, destiny, I met Chuck Rocha and I got connected to Solidarity, and it's where I started my career. When everyone had taken a leave of absence from the firm to work on the Bernie Sanders campaign, I joined and kind of held everything down while everyone was working on that. And then fast forward to now, I've been a partner 2 years now, and I work on campaigns and elections, making ads, mailers, what have you, for presidential all the way down to local. My day-to-day now is mostly congressional, but that's me.
Who did you immigrate with?
So it was my mom and my dad and my older sister, Astrid, who is 4 years older than me. A few years after we had immigrated, my little brother was born in California, so he's a
Well,
U.S. citizen.
we're going to get to him. So you didn't, you were 5 or 6 when you came?
So I flip-flop on this. I always say 6 because I was 5 years old, and then 2 months later, I turned 6.
Oh, that makes sense. And then when people say you immigrated, you were 6. You couldn't have got on a bus or a car. You were brought.
Yep.
Like you weren't asked, do you want to stay behind? You didn't have a choice.
Right.
I'm just making that clear for folks that are like, Well, she immigrated here and was undocumented. Well, no, she came here on a visa, and then there was an earthquake anyway. So, we'll get to you working for me. We're gonna get to that story, but I think it's important for folks to understand that your brother was born in the US after y'all got here.
Mhm.
Makes him a US citizen for all of you elementary folks listening right now. And your brother, at one point, explain this, and I think I know, but make sure that the folks know. Your mom and dad now are US citizens, and explain to folks how that happened.
They're residents, they have their green card, and
Resident, thank you.
yeah, my little brother, he turned 21 not too long ago, and as soon as that happened, a new petition was put in for them. Not to get too complex, but it's, family-based chain migration, like I-400, 140.
Yeah, they are now legally here residents because your brothers are US citizens. Why couldn't these are me asking these questions so folks know. Why couldn't he just get all of y'all the same thing? Why just your mom and dad? What about you and your sister? Does your brother not like you?
He loves me, I'm his favorite sibling. No, I'm just kidding. Um, so, this is what's broken about the immigration system is that there are very little pathways to change your status. And with my little brother, since, that's a direct relationship, mom and dad gave him birth, right? Since we're far removed, I'm 31 now, that connection isn't close enough. My parents, so mom to me, can sponsor me for that same type of visa, but it's a 10-year process. It's still a crazy wait that isn't going to help me here in the next 2 weeks while I wait for TPS to expire.
Oh, you said 2 weeks. When does TPS expire?
September 9th.
And for how many estimated El Salvadorian TPS holders?
200,000.
Mm. And how many years have you been here?
25, going on 26.
So that's what the point I'm asking questions that I know the answer to, y'all. But it's important to know, and the point I'm making is this woman was brought here as a little kid, and she's been here for 25 years. She's went to public schools. Her mom and dad have paid taxes. She's paid taxes. Her brother now pays taxes. And because of this broken system for this group of people, 200,000 people who came here, she's being told, this is the headline story. She's being told that after that date, she's now will have an illegal entry if she's caught doing anything because she's not documented. The temporary status ends on the 9th. Is that correct?
That's right. So on September 9th, my license is going to expire, my work authorization is going to expire, my life is going to be upended, essentially.
So if you had to leave and you're being told by legal counsel you should leave, they're telling you that you should leave because if you were to pull over for a speeding ticket, if you were to be detained for some reason, then you could literally be sent to one of these camps that we've been seeing where undocumented people are being held because you will be legally undocumented. Is that correct?
That's right. And that's the fear of, just going, like, doing my day to day and speeding or something happens where I'm essentially disappeared. So that's the advice I've been given, and what the current plan is to go back to a country that I don't know and haven't been to since I was 5 years old.
So I think that that's an important part of the country is that folks think of immigrants as these folks who come here for whatever reason and that they're sneaking in the bowels of the night and they're criminals. Daisy, because she works for me, I won't put your business in the street, but I'll say she makes six figures on most good years and well into those six figures. She makes good money, especially for a 31-year-old woman in DC or a 31-year-old man for that matter. I never made the money that Daisy's making when I was 31, and I'm a US citizen. Let me just say that. I'm not, again, putting her business in the street, and I'm laughing because she knows I want to, but I'm not. So you would think, and she also has been paying Social Security taxes since you were 16?
Yeah, 17, 18.
And you will never, in the current state, be allowed to draw Social Security unless by some reason, and I don't think you can draw Social Security if you're in El Salvador, you'll never see Social Security, right?
Mm. Essentially, no. can't say for certain, but there are so many things that I can't and haven't been able to do. When I was applying for college, I had to just figure it out because I didn't qualify for FAFSA, even though by any other standard I would because of my family's income. I had to work at a call center and get yelled at for hours on end to put myself through college. So this is what's really frustrating is that so many people like me have given this country so much, have sacrificed, have worked hard for this promise of just being able to live a decent life in peace, and that's being taken away for over 200,000 Salvadorans.
That's the key. So Daisy's been told she has to self-deport to a country she's never been to with her sister. Thank God she's got her sister with her sister because of a broken system where we can't make these law-abiding taxpayers U.S. citizens or residents or anything else because of politics and politics only. Nobody's here illegally. The government knows who she is. They know where she lives. She gives them biometrics. She has no criminal record. It's just important for y'all to know that. We'll stop the conversation there because we skipped some things. We're going to back up because I think you need to understand what Daisy does for a living. You think she just works for me and she's probably on TV and she lives in some ivory palace and she just showers her servants with money, but that's not what we do. Daisy's a political consultant. Daisy's a partner in the firm. Well, what does that mean? Daisy's a partner in the firm. That means that Daisy and Luis Alcarter get to take money that we make. They make a great salary. We've already put her numbers in the street on what she makes. But if we make a bunch of money, they get a percentage of that money as partners of the firm. That means when we do good, she does good. The better we do, Chuck Rocha is not just going to get rich and go to Alaska. Oh, wait, he may be rich and go to Alaska, but he also shares the money with his partners who help run the firm every day. And she runs parts of the firm every day. Give us some examples of what that is, Daisy. What is your work as a consultant?
That's a big question. It changes depending on the project, but more often than not, I'm working directly with a candidate or a party committee like the DCCC or a super PAC like HMP, SMP to make ads to make sure that voters are getting the Democratic messaging that will flip the House, that will change the tides here in DC. So lately, it's been making a lot of mail, writing a lot of scripts. And Chuck mentioned Luis and I run the day to day to the firms. So that's checking in with all the staff, that's doing administrative stuff like invoicing and all that boring stuff to make sure that the business keeps, moving. But yeah, that's the gist of it.
So when Solidarity makes phone calls for somebody, Daisy's setting up those scripts and getting the call centers and making sure the texts go out, writing scripts for mail, making sure that the design is done, taking the edits from the D trip or from whoever the candidate may be, and making sure she is as big a consultant as any consultant in Washington, D.C., doing the same thing. What I find ironic, if I'm using the word ironic right, is currently you're now the lead consultant from our firm to the DCCC handling all of the Latino outreach with a team. So you're working on every Latino race in America for them. You don't have to go into the details here. I'm on the other side of that wall. So we're not going to talk in detail about what the targeting or this has been. I just think that it's interesting that you're electing and helping elect Latinos that'll be in Congress, where you're probably using wording around ICE overreach, immigration, terror in the community, when you're that person that's being affected by it. Like you're the closest to that with, folks who are living this day to day. And again, ironic may not be the thing, but now there's going to be a group of people here where you help get them elected, but you're going to be in the country where you just elected 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 new congresswomen. Do I have any of that wrong?
Just that it's not just Latinos, it's people all
Thank you.
over the country, and I think that's something that's shocking about my career. It always shocks people when I tell them that I've been at Solidarity for 8 years. Um, this work is so important to me because like Chuck mentioned, this stuff affects my day to day. It affects my family, it affects people that I love, and why I'm so passionate about doing this and why I wanna keep doing it.
Yep, and so I think that that's important for folks to know that she works for the D Trip. She does work for Vote Vets. She does work, and when I start talking about this to people, they're like, "How could she have to deport? She works for Congress. She works for Congress people." And I've called those Congress people, and they've been like, "Look, Chuck, we love Daysi. We would do anything, but there's literally nothing a congressman can do unless Congress passes a law." And right now, the president has that power with an executive pen. Uh, Tell me if I'm right here, Daysi. Joe Biden extended the TPS to get us to where we are today, right?
Yeah, so one of the last things that Joe Biden did before he left office was redesignate TPS for El Salvador. That bought us another 18 months. Even with that, shortly after the new administration, there were all those cuts to DHS, there were backlogs, there are DACA recipients still waiting for their renewals. I waited for my TPS renewal last year for well over 8 months where I couldn't renew my license. I was panicking. Like I didn't want to leave my house with the National Guard at my steps. So it's just been a mess all
You
around.
couldn't travel anywhere either. Did you have an ID?
No, my license had expired and it didn't have a real ID. So I was pretty much just in my home for all of 2025.
Right. And I think that that's important for folks to know when they talk about a failed system and we talk about needing to do something for the folks like Daysi who have been here on temporary status. That the president just let this, Daysi, help me here, just let this expire for a group of people from an island, right?
For Haiti? Yeah.
For Haitians.
Mhm.
And so all of those people had to self deport or they'd be here illegally. Is that not true?
Yes.
And there
And
were
there are a
reports.
lot of other countries that TPS has been revoked for, like Somalia, Yemen, Nepal. There's a bunch of people, Venezuela. There's a lot of people that are in limbo now.
So you get this work, you've got this status, and you've been kind of clucking through life. After September the 9th, your ID no longer will work. If you need to go somewhere you can't travel, you're kind of stuck in a situation where you have to deport and then figure out your life from that point forward. You're going to talk about that. I know some more in other media appearances coming up. Why? This is another question I get. The government knows who you are. They know where you live. Now, you are not undocumented today, and you have not broken no laws in any form or fashion. But you've been telling this story on your streaming app and on your social media. Like, why have you felt like you've had to, take that risk?
Uh, Honestly, I don't know, and my mom is still mad at me to this day for that. She, uh, she just worries for me because, like you said, putting myself out there could be some repercussions.
Tony Carter's called me yesterday. She goes, I don't know what Daisy's doing, but tell her to get off the internet. I was like, Congressman, she knows what she's doing.
And that's the thing, like, this is quietly ending, and it's unfair, and I'm in a position where, yeah, I have a lot to lose, but I also know great people like you. I've been given a platform and opportunities that I feel like I just need to do whatever I can to make the most noise, and maybe it won't result in anything, but I can leave this country knowing that I did everything I could to stay.
And everybody should know that just because whatever happens to Daisy and Daisy's wherever she decides she has to go and with if the thing is not extended, Daisy will still work here. Daisy may work on a computer screen, but y'all don't think I'm firing Daisy just because she may have some things. If I could hide her in my basement, we'd do that, but we're not going to take that chance either. We'll get to that later. I want to pivot because we only got like 7 or 8 minutes left, and we have done really good not to cry to this point, so I'm not going to mess that up. I want to talk a little bit more about your personal life. Now, for those of you, I'm not going to talk about your love life. I'm not going to talk about your sister. Here, what I am going to talk about, though, is that I have noticed on your socials that you be going to a lot of concerts. I need to know how you discovered this little boy band, BTS, and why you like them so much.
Okay, I resent that because they're not just a boy band, they're actually around my age, but
This grown
I
man boy
love
band.
BTS from South Korea. Um, uh, I s like most people during the pandemic, they heard, like, Dynamite and Butter, those, like, 2 big songs that kinda popped off during the pandemic. But then after the last presidential election and I was just in the pits of hell, like, thinking, "What is gonna happen to me because of this new administration?" I rediscovered some of their music, and it's just so inspiring and just, like, really helped me get through that time. And, they recently finished their mandatory military service and came out with a new album called Arirang, and they're on tour right now, which I've been going to a lot of the shows. And what's crazy and it's been nice to have something to look forward to go and do. I'm going to my last show next Sunday, so September 6th, I think, flying to LA to do that, and then coming home, and then 3 days later, my TPS is expired and I won't be able to travel anywhere. So the timing is insane, but I'm glad I at least have that one last concert to look forward to.
Why, of all the artists, why, of all the pop songs, there have been other pop songs. I need to know, do you think these boys are cute? Do you think that they just sound good? Is it something about Koreans? I need to know.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of everything. Like, of course, they're handsome and they're super talented, and the music's really good. But something really resonates about a lot of the South Korean struggle where
Oh, yeah.
they've had to survive so much, and they work so hard to excel at what they do, and Arirang is, like, one of the best albums I've ever heard, so there's my plug for people to listen to it. But yeah, it's a little bit of everything.
What happens? Walk us through this. You don't have to get in that great a detail, but isn't it more than just a concert? When I see you and your sister, y'all have fans and y'all have these little trinkets and you go to these shows and there's all this fanfare around it. It's more than just a concert, right?
Right, it's collective effervescence, like, all of the fans are just so in love with the music and who they are as people that they make freebies, like, I make freebies, I make bracelets and sometimes photo cards to give out for free, and then people give me stuff back. It's just, like, everyone has their story of how they found it and how it helped them, and everyone's just living their best life at the concerts.
Yes, and I was always wondering, like, was it the music? Was it the men? And, is it the dancing? Because I try to live vicariously through you when I see it on social. Because I watch and I don't know the music, and I'm trying to think, well, their boys are cute. Now, oh, they can dance pretty well. And I think it seems something like something fun to do, and y'all are always just jumping around and having a good time like crazy town, and I'm like, "Maybe this is something I'm missing." I had to make sure I keep Ebony away from, the BTS because I don't wanna show up one of these making me go to a concert that late at night. Anyway, I digress. We always ask the final 2 questions on the Road to Revolution is we'll get the last one's about music, even though it's not BTS, is, what's your favorite meal that you would have if you were going to death row? Or the favorite meal that your mother cooked, or just the thing that is your go-to, like, what you have to have?
Yeah. Like, I'm Salvadoran, so pupusas have my heart. I swear I'm a good Salvadoran, but I love Mexican food. It's what I grew up on, like, in California, so my last meal would have to be, like, a good carne asada with some arroz, frijoles, tortillas hecho a mano, um, but yeah, I love Mexican food. I think that would be
Mm.
it.
The last one is in baseball, and you've been to the baseball game with the solidarity tickets, I know, sitting really close. You'll notice when a batter comes up to the batter's box, they pick this music that's their pump-up music as they walk to the bat. I need to know what your walk-up music would be.
My gosh,
Mm.
so hard. Um, I'm completely blanking. I love K-pop and BTS, but I've grown up listening to a little bit of everything, so I'm, like, trying to, uh I would just say a BTS song. probably from the new album. It would be Body to Body or Fire. FYA.
Well, I wanted to do this so everybody get a chance to answer some of these questions and make it super short because we go any longer, me and her will have a cry fest. We'll talk about, she'll be on CBS tonight. We're going to put up some clips. You can follow us at Solidarity Strategies, Daysi Gonzalez, that's Daysi, on her social medias and see all of her BTS chum that she has there of giving everything else. We talk a lot of times about the consequences of elections. And we're like, oh, these elections are going to have consequences. This is the most important election of our lifetime. Imagine being an immigrant who was brought here as a baby, and the consequences of losing a presidential election is you have to leave the country. That is real shit, y'all. And so you should think about when we do this work, when she says it means something, it means something. That's why I stay angry half the time. And what we haven't talked about here is how Daysi is the one. Daysi is the one who talks Chuck back. If there's a bridle in my mouth and she's got her foot on my back pulling backwards, it's Daysi telling me to keep my mouth shut and to be nice and that I should not be mean to people. And so she is my kind heart. I love you, Daysi, and I will see y'all all next week on the Road to Revolution.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
We did it.